Road, addition of a new family room off rear elevation with new master bedroom and bathroom above, stone patio with new walkway. That's HARB 2013-12. Who would like to present and introduce yourself?
Good evening. My name is George Brosman. I'm representing my friends, my good friends, Oliver and Simone Lau, who are the homeowners of the property. Oliver is here in the front, and their designer, Martha Robertson, will be presenting the application to you, and the builder is here as well, Mark Vieira. I think Martha and Mark have been in front of you recently with a project or two in some of your historic districts. We're here this evening seeking a recommendation for a certificate of appropriateness. This property is at the very edge of the North Wayne Historic District. As Martha will tell you, the property is the home in question is a charming, modestly sized home, and they're proposing a modest addition to the rear of the property. It mostly, to the greatest extent, will not be visible from the roadways, but Martha will explain how they have tried to make it compatible with the existing architecture. I've been lucky to be a guest there many times, so I understand why they're doing this addition, and Martha will explain that too. They do have some needs to update the home. I have found, I'm sure you have found as well, that one of the best ways to preserve historic structures are to continue to invest in them and to keep them up to date, and that's what this project is really all about. So I'm going to have Martha come up and explain the project to you, and then of course if you have any questions.
Okay.
Do you all have the plans,
Yes.
or should we put them up here?
Yeah, we have something to give you too once you start.
Great.
We found something too. So.
Hi, my name's Martha Wheaton Robertson. Did a project on Oak Lane recently in Radnor. Anyway, let's see.
Could I just ask you, could you start with the site plan and just kind of review
Okay, do we have
which,
who's got the site plan?
how this is put together on the site?
Take the larger one. So,
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. So you have Eagle Road up here.
Okay, so Eagle Road's here, and
turn it around.
Yeah,
there we go, okay.
thank you.
Okay. So when you're looking at the house from this way.
I'm sorry. Do you want a handheld? Would that be easier?
What now?
You want to
Yes,
use a hand?
thank you.
Okay. Sorry, sometimes we forget.
Okay. When you look at the house from the street, pretty much all you see is a quasi Cape Cod craftsman style house that was, I think, originally built as a servants' quarters for the manor house, which is on the corner over here, which is a much more elaborate structure with turrets and things like that. This looks more like a barn or, an afterthought, although it was designed in the style of some of the craftsman Cape Cod buildings that are scattered around Wayne. You come in this driveway and there's a garage here. Then this dwelling had a bump out for their kitchen, which is quite small. You entered through these steps, which were never part of the original building. These are beautiful flagstone steps that were put on probably in the 60s, about when the kitchen was done. When they did that, they took out some historic original windows in the house and put in these big plate glass ugly things that were one in the dining room and two in the kitchen, one here and one here. Now, the Laos came to me because they had several needs. Their kitchen wasn't big enough. The kitchen was isolated from the family room or the living room. They had a traffic pattern problem coming into the house, and they needed more space upstairs. They didn't have enough sleeping space upstairs because they have company coming now from Europe on a regular basis. This property is deep, and there are quite a few trees here. So when you're looking at the house, you don't really see that much of the addition from the road. You see more of it as you're coming in the driveway than you do really from the street. And we kept, we were very careful to make sure that our addition did not encroach on the building restriction line any more than the original wall already does. So we have a little setback, so we were sure to clear that line, because apparently the original wall of the dwelling is on the building restriction line. So we set it back as far as we could to avoid encroachment there. And they're removing as few trees as they possibly can for this project. We're hoping to even maintain an ornamental tree in the front if we can.
Do you have the photographs with you as well?
Oh, yeah.
If you could kind of put them side by side, that'd be helpful.
This is the rear that Martha was speaking about with the windows that were replaced.
Those windows are here and here.
Yeah. Yeah, look at how we're oriented there. Yeah, thanks.
There we go.
So we're looking at the same elevation as,
This, you're coming in the driveway and you're seeing this front stoop here,
Right.
and you're seeing the garage.
And this is the front of the house view from Eagle.
That's coming down the street. This is what you're looking at, this elevation.
So this is the entrance that was made when they enclosed the porch.
Yeah, there was originally just an open porch there, because the original porch slab is still there where there's a step down. And then they put these panels to close it in.
are they the removable panel type, or are they?
No, they're
fixed?
permanent.
They're fixed, okay.
They're permanent. It was all hand-built, site-built. Original glass. I mean, it's pretty old glass from, it looks like it's 30 years old, 40 years old, something like that.
Greg Pritchard, who is part of the Historical Society in Radnor, contacted us and found a photograph of this when it was a carriage house for the house you're talking about.
Oh, my gosh.
And I
great.
think you want to have a look at it
Oh, my
and
God.
put it up there for everybody as well.
Look at that.
Do we know what year that photograph is?
Where?
No,
That's
I don't-
amazing. That's just amazing.
So you can see the footprint is the
Wow.
same. The roof lines have
Wow.
changed a bit, but
Oh,
this
my.
is the kind of stuff, if you ever have anything in Wayne to do and you have a question, this guy Greg Pritchard.
Greg
at the-
Pritchard.
At the
At the Historical Society,
he knows where everything is in terms of photographs.
This foundation wall is 21 inches thick. All
Yeah.
real stone.
So he offered this up as, and in the inventory for the North Wayne contributing and non-contributing, buildings in the area, it's got a description of this building as being the carriage house for the house on Chestnut Lane, and that when it was inventoried, they looked at it, it had the two shed dormers already installed
Oh, really?
at
Okay.
the time of the inventory.
Okay.
which was the original 19,
It was after the fact.
You mean these shed dormers?
Yeah, the big
Yes,
sheds.
right. The
big
front
sheds.
and rear,
oh,
yeah.
okay, that is.
So the eyebrow had been taken out and the cupola had been taken out.
Right.
And then the garage was also added, the other garage.
Because
So-
they wanted to make living space above for servants, right, help.
He didn't offer a date on it, so I'll have to find out.
It
but
looks-
it looks like
looks
it's almost,
pretty old.
here's a brand new house and here's the brand new carriage.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing is there's no development. It looks like it's
I
out in the middle
know.
Yeah.
of nowhere.
I know.
It's amazing.
So I thought that would be something you'd be interested in seeing, and
Yes,
as well as the
absolutely.
owner. And it's a resource, the Radnor Historical Society is a humongous resource for this kind of thing.
Thank
They
you.
have information on the website, but it goes way beyond that. You
Okay.
have to contact them and tell him what you're looking for, and he'll come back with undoubtedly, lots of information.
Right, just amazing. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. So I think, have I explained enough about the site?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
I mean, you can kind of outline the addition.
Okay,
So-
the addition is right here. That's the addition. And
Okay.
we're doing a proposed patio down below,
Okay,
which is like a half story down, with steps going down to it. Because the grade, it's a gradual grade down,
okay.
okay? So let me go to, actually, I'm going to use this as a backer sheet. I think I'll just go to the first floor plan, which will be, no, that's not in focus. Is there a way to get that in focus?
And I think once you stop moving, he'll maybe be able to tighten that up a little bit.
You want to use my set?
On the end.
Why don't you use my set? It'll be clearer.
The prints will be clearer than the Mylars? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's popping.
Except it's got a crease in the middle. Come on, straighten out. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's go over here. Now, the original footprint of the house is here, and then they had a little bump out here where the original kitchen was, a tiny little bump out. And it goes around to the back. This is the original chimney, original stair going up second floor, and a separate stair going to the basement, which I can't figure out why they did that, but they did. Because I think the basement was an afterthought. This is the original porch you see that we saw in that historical photograph that's now closed in with glass. When you come, their only entry to this house was either a screen door at the back of the kitchen, or up the stoops into the living room, dumping right into the living room. So you park your car, you either had to go all the way back here to get in, or you come all the way, wind all the way around there, and get in the kitchen. They wanted a more direct route to get to the kitchen with groceries and everything else, because they can't have an attached garage, there's no space for it. So we're going to use existing stone to match existing, and reconfigure stoop and walkway so that here's the driveway, and we're coming up some steps to a walkway, and then up new steps to an entry, a little foyer area where they can go left or right into the great room, which is now for the kids. There's a window seat where they're going to put a table, but that's going to be their main eating area. This existing dining room, we took out the big plate glass window and put in a window that matches the front of the house. And now they have cubbies here for the kids' bags and coats and things like that. And this stair is literally cast in stone. Stair is concrete and block going down to the basement. So this stair, we just had to leave there. We had no choice with their construction budget. But we gave them a lot more counter space in the kitchen, and a little niche here for baking and a refrigerator. And the kitchen is partially open to now a big great room, which lets all the sun in the wintertime. And this is their main activity room. And they're going to have a table here for eating. So this works better from a traffic standpoint she can be in the kitchen, the young kids here, and she doesn't, they're not over here in this room. And then we have a balcony going down, steps going down to the lower patio. They also were hoping to get some basement space in their addition. And we're going to excavate out, there's going to be a basement underneath here, unfinished. But at least it gives them more storage space than what they have now. The current basement is nothing but a labyrinth of corridors and a mishmash of basement, crawl space. You can't get to any place. So, and currently they have their laundry in the basement. So they have to go down the stairs to do laundry every single time they want to do laundry. We try to get the laundry up to the second floor so they didn't have to deal with the basement. So this is going to be a playroom for the kids eventually, and just right now for storage, since they have limited basement space. We're having an egress window to let light in, and a window here at the front, you see from the front elevation, that matches the existing basement windows, which are very tiny. So that's the first floor. We're going to be very sympathetic to the grade, and the steps are going to basically follow the grade down as we excavate out. They will either be a frame material, or I'm hoping to do a mixture of frame and stone to get more of this original stone in around the foundation and around this the piers for this balcony. And the patio below will be a flagstone again to match the stoop they have now. This walkway will match the stoop.
Martha, could you just highlight with your finger what part is the addition?
Okay, the addition is all of this. That's addition.
All right, want to go to the second floor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah?
Is there demolition here? You tearing?
Yeah, there is an existing, yes. There is an existing now. Let's see if I can show on this. Yes, okay. This line is the existing little bump out that is the kitchen now, and from that there is an existing patio, flagstone patio,
Okay.
that they put again in we're thinking the 60s, 50s or 60s. That's this patio right here.
Okay.
This,
So where that door is, that's the piece that's getting.
yes, that's getting, right.
That was the small bump out that was added.
That was the, well,
It looks more than the bump out in this picture. It's just.
we can't figure out
Deceiving.
when that was added, because if you go down the basement, it's parged something, and it's either parged stone or it's concrete, and you won't know until we dig in there and find out what it actually is.
It looks like the same thickness as the rest of the...
That's, yeah, but on this photograph, it doesn't show that extra bump out in this old building, so we're trying to figure out when that was put on.
That's a tough angle. You might miss it. It's such a small bump.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so that's, does that explain that? Okay.
Thank you.
Now then, the second floor, the intention was, they were dealing with bathrooms and bedrooms up here. This bedroom was very small. Then they had a teeny tiny bedroom here that was 8 by 10. Then they had this bedroom, and this was their master. And this weird area here going into their master bath, which they renovated when they moved in because it was in such bad shape. The hall bath was always here. So their problem was they needed a decent-sized guest bedroom for their parents when they come from Europe. And they didn't have enough space if this was the master and the kids were here and here, that little bedroom wasn't big enough for guests. And then we also wanted to get the laundry upstairs. So we figured, let's move the master suite over to here, which frees up this space. They may at some time take out this wall and make it one big room, but for right now it's staying like this. So they can put several beds in here and even a cot in here for people to sleep. They can have 4 guests. Then this is one child's room and this is another child's room. This is the new hallway to the addition, and there's a little niche here that's going to be their laundry room upstairs now. You step up. We have no place in this first floor where there's any height. And I made an aesthetic decision. I asked them, I said, would you like a little higher ceiling? And they said, yeah, it might be nice. So also, since this faces south, it's nicer to have a high ceiling when you have all those windows for air circulation. So we have a step up into the master. The master ceiling is 8 feet, but there's a potential for a tray. So they have everything they need in the master. It's tight, but it's a lot more than what they had before. And in terms of construction, I had to be careful because I have an existing ridge beam that I did not want to tie into because it's not very good. The framing of this house, as I said, it was built to be a barn, not to be a residence. So when I designed this structure, it had to be independently supporting. This couldn't be a bearing wall. These had to be the bearing walls because I couldn't count on this. I've got roof issues here that can't support, it couldn't support overframing, couldn't support valleys or any of that. It's just not strong enough. So this addition had to be pretty much independent. Does that explain? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're coming in the front driveway from the street, you're coming in this way, and that was the original entrance. Now they're planning on putting planters here. And the front door that was inside, they're going to reuse here. So this is the new steps coming up to the new entry. There's a shed roof, which is the same pitch as this roof. This roof is the same pitch as this roof, okay? Over a bump out, a bay window that bumps out. Then there's another bay that bumps out here on Craftsman style brackets. That's for the master to give them a little more space there. These windows are the same shape and scale as the existing windows, although they have to be slightly bigger to meet egress. And they will have identical trim around them as these windows will. Or we're not changing these windows right now. We're picking a style window here that copies this, but it's a vinyl window, it's a premium window, it's available with extra wide sculpted grills. So from a distance, it looks like a real wood window. It's not until you get up to it. Closer, you realize it's not a real wood window. Now, real wood windows are very expensive now. And, you know, this is a young couple, working couple. This kind of addition doesn't really warrant that expense. But these older windows leak. So eventually they will be replacing these to match these when they get enough money. So these are the steps up to the new front door. That's a basement window. Then there's going to be a walkway that goes down to the new patio. Those are the steps beyond that take you, and here's the balcony coming out of the family room with the stone pier supporting it. And again, we're going to match existing stone. We've already contacted 2 masons to say they can get this. They're pretty sure they can get the stone.
It's going to be real stone or stone face or?
No, it's the real stuff.
Yes.
Now, we might decide to do thin, the 2-inch stone veneer, you know, in some cases, rather than the thick stone. But it's It's not going to be the lick'em
It's
stickum.
going to match nicely. Yeah.
What's the existing siding made of now?
Okay, the existing siding is cement board and it's hardy board,
Okay.
which was done, the Laos believe, a few years before they moved in. And we're matching it verbatim. Color,
It looks like it's the grained kind,
it's the what?
the grained, it's got grain.
Yes,
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay.
Now that's the side you see from, elevation you see from the driveways you're coming in. Then this is the elevation you see down the hill if you're looking up at the house in the backyard. The pitch of this roof, I maintained this pitch. This roof, the roof of this original structure has 4 different pitches in it. One pitch here, a different pitch here, a different pitch there, and a different pitch on the back shed. So it's like I tried to pick the dominant pitch and go with that. Again, the windows, we're keeping with the same grid pattern, same scale as original.
So the one to the left is the plate one you're replacing?
This one is the plate window that was there that we're replacing. Flattening out.
And you're going to be matching all the overhangs and the rakes and all that.
Yes, now we're going to do the one thing, since this was constructed turn of the century, we have an issue, the current code for proper ventilation of an attic and insulation airflow requires a vented soffit. What we're going to do is an angled, we're going to have a closed soffit there with a hidden vent material, okay? And we're going to follow the same open idea, but it's going to be about 5.5 inches thick because we have to have airspace in there. What's currently there is literally the tongue and groove boarding right up against the purlins, okay, and the rafters. And they are exposed, the little rafter tails are exposed. Now, we can add those rafter tails cosmetically to this roof to match these rafter tails, which I didn't draw in because they're not really that visible from the street. They're not big rafter tails. They're not big chunky ones. They're kind of little ones. Because, again, it was built as a barn structure. It wasn't built as a major house. But I am doing the overhang to match this. You can't see it. That's the thing. You can't. No, this shed is different. There's no overhang on this shed, which is a problem for them because the windows have water issues. We don't have any other. Where's another photograph?
This corner one is probably,
I think there's one here.
Here we go. This one. This one shows at that corner right there, the open soffit, and you see the little tails of the rafters. And we can duplicate those guys on the new roof. But we have to have a vented soffit. Now, there's also another detail I want to point out here, that you can see a line here and here, and no, the trees are hiding it. It's what I call a scoop detail. It's on the original building here and back at the corner where the siding comes down, and then it does a little bit of a flip, okay? So I have duplicated that wherever I can to continue that band that currently exists on the house at that level, right there where the overhang is.
It kind of just gently,
It just gently
Yes.
flares out. Yeah,
Yes.
right. You see it in a lot of the older houses in Wayne. And again, any of our trim is going to match all of these existing windows that are there. Okay. This is the rear elevation, which well, no, it's a side. Well, it's their rear. This faces the neighbor to the east, where there are a lot of trees and shrubs and bushes. And we don't even have a photograph because there's so much foliage there, you can't even see the house. This is the existing house with that's the existing pitch roof where they put the dormer, the shed dormer in, and then this is the addition. And the addition is just a little bit higher than this roof. Now, if you're a person at street level here and you're looking up, you're never going to see the fact that this roof is just a little bit higher than this roof. And I'll show you on another elevation what I mean. Again, the trim is going to be the same as the existing windows. These are a mishmash of different window styles that they have in the existing house. Mm-hmm. On the first, they got everything but the kitchen sink in here. But we're leaving those. And this is a new window in the kitchen, and then this is the addition here. Okay, now the front, or we're calling it from the street, is what's that? Here, okay. This is I'm calling it their side elevation, but it's really the front elevation from the street. This is what everyone driving by sees, okay? So they see the main roof, they see the dormers, the chimney, and then beyond, if you were standing up on a hill, looking at this house from a hill, you would see the very tippy top of the addition. But if you're down at the street looking up, you're never going to see that little piece of roof there, because that piece of roof is 30 feet beyond you.
Back.
And that scoop detail is right here and right here with that band. And that band that's the original part of that building. But you know, if I look at the photograph, the two original windows are not these.
Yeah, is that weird?
They're more spread apart.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing. So they shifted things around.
Mm-hmm.
And the original had a cedar shake
Yeah.
top. I mean, that's why they had the scoop in there.
Uh-huh.
And the chimney.
There was a cupola and an eyebrow window. All that
Right.
good stuff is gone.
All right.
I think that's our presentation. I don't know if you have any other questions. We would appreciate getting your recommendation so that we could go to the Board of Commissioners on Monday.
Just a quick question on heights.
Okay.
The first floor is all the same level.
Yes.
The second floor is 2 steps up.
Correct.
Did you ever consider reversing that and having the second floor level and the first floor 2 steps down? I mean, I'm just asking about
Okay,
that roof height difference. I'm just asking if there was.
I know.
you
Okay.
what I mean?
Their parents are elderly.
Okay.
And they did not want to step down on the first floor
Okay.
because they're one parent has a cane, and so they just didn't want to deal with that.
Okay.
Now remember, when you're looking at this addition is set way back from the plane of this wall. So if you're down looking up, perspective will make this seem shorter than it does in architectural elevation, because this is coming out ahead of you. And this is set far back. And that was, the option was just leaving the ceilings the same height. and not going, and they said, you know what?
Are you below 7 feet or 7.5 feet or something like that?
The second floor is 7.5 feet. Oh, no, 7.3 on the second floor.
Okay.
And 8 foot on the first floor. Yeah. Yeah, see, this addition is set way back from this front wall.
Any comments?
I was going to say,
Nothing
this might be a minor point, but the very narrow or small differentiation of the height, besides it, like you say, keeping in contact with keeping the context of the old house very close, the Secretary of Interior Standards often will say, it's okay, it's even better to differentiate new from old.
Right.
So people won't assume the whole thing was once popular.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's, that speaks for what you're doing.
And in this view that, if you could see this in 3 dimensions, as you say, you still are feeling the original footprint and the original mass of the house.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Which is the historic piece.
right,
So,
Right.
I think in terms of that, and, Beverly's right, you either go higher or lower, just some way to be different
right,
in
exactly.
terms of that. So I was just asking, how'd you make that decision to go higher than versus lower? And you've answered that question.
Yeah, exactly. And then the height, again, in the first floor for air circulation and give them a little more space, vertical space. They didn't mind stepping up to their master suite. Their,
Now you don't.
yeah, well, yeah,
And this is one of these properties that falls under the historic district that's different because it's a parcel that was split. It's an accessory building, which are few and far between nowadays.
Right.
They're falling apart or being demolished years ago. So this one was at some point taken and repurposed,
yeah.
as you guys had said, which is a preservation good thing.
Oh, if you go in the basement and see these walls, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So
amazing.
now you're furthering that
Right,
to another level, and you're using like materials and all good things in that regard. So I think in terms of, if you look at what we're trying to do, while it is not the same footprint and it's a little different footprint, the original footprint was sort of an L. It's now a real L. And the massing is not anything out of ordinary, it's not
Right.
out of context or whatever. So I think if you look at our ordinance, you haven't gone beyond those guidelines. You can quote the number, probably.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
7.3 something.
Yeah. And I think it's, in terms of preserving a piece of our inventory, continuing that is a good thing.
okay, great.
It's very
Anything else?
appropriate. I think your design is quite appropriate and beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I must have drove 3 times up the street trying to find the house.
I know.
And it's well hidden. And I just really, the only comment that I have is it's too bad you can't twist the building 180 degrees because the back really looks great.
Yeah, I know.
And all you see is that one side along the
I
street.
know, yeah, well, but they're going to be seeing the backyard, they're going to be looking up from the back patio a lot, so,
But you really can't see that back.
No.
I mean, I kind of drove up the driveway a little bit, and
you can't.
it really can't, no.
All right, recommendations?
Recommendation to approve a COA?
Well, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have 4 to none. We
Okay,
have
thank you very
approved.
much.
And you know
Thank
the
you.
process from here, right?
Yep,
Okay.
okay.
When's the next
Monday?
Monday? Is it on that one, you think? Okay. So the commissioners will look at our recommendations on Monday at their commissioners' meeting and agree, disagree, or have conditions on it.
Okay,
And that'll be your determination as we're an advisory group, so
okay,
they say that they agree with us or not, and then at that point, you know where you are.
right,
And then you can go to the next phase,
Okay.
which is permits or zoning or whatever you have to go
Right.
to,
right. Okay.
And that's it. And thank you very much for all
Thank
your
you very
time.
much.
Great project.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Would it be possible to get the contact information of the gentleman you mentioned that has
Yeah,
access?
I'll give you that too. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Do you want to keep that?
Give you back your plans.
That's
I mean,
yours.
it's up to you. It was mine, but I can make another one. And
All right.
it's really-
Next on the agenda, is any new business? Anybody? Nothing from you guys? Any old business we need to talk about? I missed the last two meetings, so I'm a little out of sync on that.
We're not going to tell you.
Okay. All right. Have a motion to adjourn.
That was all.
Anybody want to?
Second.
All right. We're adjourned.
Thank you.